Okay, so we come to food. In general, the world is non-vegetarian. Depending on where you go, it changes. So in USA and Canada now, you'll probably find lots of vegetarian stuff. In places like Japan, it's very difficult. There's nothing truly vegetarian. If you don't want to eat non-veg, that's perfectly fine. Irrespective of what you eat, expect that you'll have to cook, and in fact, insist that you get an accommodation with a kitchen. A, it's much more cheap, very, very cheap. And B, it's much more satisfying because after a while you get bored. What do you carry with from here? It depends on how enthusiastic you are about cooking. So if you aren't, I suggest you learn basic stuff so that you can at least survive well. Make sure you either when you go home, ask your mother to teach you basic things, like basic dishes, basic techniques and so on, so that you can buy stuff there and cook. Vegetables, etc., food items are much cheaper there. For example, I could survive, let's say 1 month in Germany, I needed probably only 60 euros for grocery, whereas one meal is about 4 euros. So one meal is 4 euros, one meal times 60 meals in a month, do the math. So much cheaper to cook yourself, much more satisfying. So things like rice, dal, etc., you can just put it up and get it ready in, let's say, 10-15 minutes. However, it's heavy, so make sure you decide that based on the weight. Fine. A very quick note on general packing. 2 or 3 important things. A, make sure you pack and double pack every single thing you put there, especially food items. Especially liquids and things like pickles. When baggage is moved in airlines and at airports, it's very badly handled. Make sure that any sharp utensils, even a spoon is sharp when things are being thrown around. So make sure none of this is near packets with powders and stuff which might easily break. So if you have anything sharp, put it in paper or plastic, wrap it up, make it blunt enough, then put it in your bag. Usually Indian food and Indian ingredients are available in most big cities across the world, but obviously it's more expensive. What I'll suggest is that you take spices and stuff from here. They're not very heavy, you don't need a lot of them. So take all the spices from here, take some rice, and so rice, for example, is usually available across the world very easily. Flour is not, because the flour we use for making roti is different from the general purpose flour, which is maida. So you will not probably get roti wala flour easily. And that the other flour is very terrible if you want to make roti with it or something. So if you plan to cook, then take more flour rather than rice. Rice kahin bhi mil jata hai. Usually Indian food and Indian ingredients are available in most big cities across the world, but obviously it's more expensive. What I'll suggest is that you take spices and stuff from here. They're not very heavy, you don't need a lot of them. So take all the spices from here, take some rice, and so rice, for example, is usually available across the world very easily. Flour is not, because the flour we use for making roti is different from the general purpose flour, which is maida. So you will not probably get roti wala flour easily. And that the other flour is very terrible if you want to make roti with it or something. So if you plan to cook, then take more flour rather than rice. Rice kahin bhi mil jata hai. Yes, connection. So, but that is something the aqua wala gives you. Make sure that you always take flat bottom vessel. Probably buy a new utensil, but make sure they're flat bottom. Also, बहुत छोटे वाले मत ले जाओ, even if you're alone. Take slightly bigger utensils. Food will probably tend to burn less, and also at the same time, you can cook more and probably keep it in the fridge or something. Even if you're not into about cooking, so you can ask your mom or anyone to, let's say, prepare ready-made mixes of very easy things. For example, upma and stuff. So milk, bread, juices, yogurt, flavored yogurt, ice cream and stuff, cakes are relatively very cheap, and make sure that those are the kind of things you can buy and afford very easily. Eggs, for example. Make sure that at least the ones who eat eggs are very, very versatile for cooking. Take very less time. So learn some egg dishes. Eggs are very cheap also. Then the eggs, potatoes, bread makes for a very, very composite and poor man's meal across the world. And so make sure you can cook them. See, irrespective of where you are, eating out will always be costly than cooking.
Do university hostels have a mess?
You have mensa or messes or common food eating areas in the university at times. पर वो भी थोड़ा महंगा पड़ता है. तो जैसे, पर it's cheaper than food outside. So McDonald's is there in every nook and cranny of the world, maybe even Antariksh. So usually they're fairly priced. मतलब अपने यहाँ से तो costly होता है, but वहाँ पे it's like the homeless poor man's